This is part 2 of the Confessions of an Emotionally Unavailable Man. Now, I did put out a part 1, and I promised my people, anybody who watched and left a comment that they wanted a part 2, I would give them a part 2. However, for the last 2 months, I completely forgot, but I do believe that this is divine timing, because out of nowhere, it came to the top of consciousness, top of mind, and I feel as if there was no better time to release the part 2, because in the last 2 months there's been so much growth. My inner healing journey has truly taken on a life of its own, and I've discovered things about myself that I did not know even 2 months ago. And so again, I just believe that this is a perfect timing, a serendipitous timing, divine timing for this message to be out into the world. Now, that being said, in the first video, I do remember just referencing what my emotional state was when I was this withdrawn, aloof man in every single one of my relationships. Now that sounds contradictory, right? You think, oh, a man who is emotionally unavailable has no emotions. But the reality is we fake it. We pretend. We do all we can to essentially deny our emotions so we can protect ourselves, or at least we believe that we are protecting ourselves from rejection, from heartbreak, from being neglected, from being denied, whatever it may look like within our own psyche. We are simply using that as a mechanism to protect ourselves. And so we will distance ourselves emotionally from even those people who love us most, right? And when we get into relationships, we go into those relationships with kind of what I call a Heisman, right? If anybody knows about, like, there's like NCAA or a college football trophy called the Heisman, and it's a dude going like this, right? Stiff arm, in other words. And so we get into every relationship with basically a stiff arm, with the distance between us and the other person, and we don't let the other person in, not because we want to be in control or we have some sort of psychopathic type of tendency. It's simply because we are afraid. Now, it might come off as controlling sometimes, or we might come off as distant and aloof, as somebody who is simply not there, not completely in the relationship. But again, the simple fact is, it is coming from a place of simply not wanting to be hurt or hurt again, right? And many of our wounds came from childhood. Either we had a parent who might have been out of the picture, who might have neglected or abandoned us, who might have been in the household, but was disinterested in us. And so we felt as if we were already rejected from the very beginning, especially if we had a mother, especially have a woman in the house who is that maternal figure who we were seeking love from, and we felt as if the love was incomplete. And so we tend to come to a place or get to a place where we start to create these calluses around our heart, and we create these walls that keep us really locked in. Like, we're thinking we're, keeping the bad things out, but truly we're really keeping the heartbreak within, because there's no true healing when we're in that state of emotional unavailability. Again, we are denying a core aspect of what we are, which is emotional creatures. And so how this started manifesting in a lot of my relationships was I would always find ways in which to distance myself, or reasons to distance myself. I would find little things about the other person that would make me or have me be justified in my distance. So maybe it was things that they had done in the past, or maybe it was things that they brought up, or the ways in which they were acting. Small little subtle things that might have seemed insignificant on the surface, we will use as a reason to distance ourselves. So maybe we might see you eyeing somebody or whatever it is in public, and that's not even the case, but we make that story up in our head and we say, see, that's a reason why you shouldn't get too close, because she's probably just with you until she's ready for the next guy. Like, that's the type of mentality. It comes from a deep sense of insecurity, feeling as if we are not truly secure in and of ourselves. And so you'll find, if you are in a relationship or have been in a relationship with a man like this, it is not that he doesn't want to care for you. It is not that he doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. It is that he does not yet understand, or has not accepted, that he needs to heal from those wounds of his past. He needs to let go of those stories that are keeping him in that cycle, in that pattern. and that he is truly creating his own heartbreak. He does not yet understand that. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that the reason why the relationships weren't working out, and I never seemed to have a true bond and connection with somebody. And so relationships seemed fleeting was because I was so afraid to give that love to anybody. And by the way, it's not just you who's not getting the love. You might feel it the most because you're the closest in proximity and also emotion, but it's the people around him who are not completely getting the authentic version of him. Like when I was in that space, when I was completely emotionally unavailable, nobody who was close to me truly got me. Strangers got more of me than people who are close, because a stranger couldn't reject me. I was going to see them today and, they'll be gone tomorrow, or gone within moments. And so there was no investment, there was no emotional risk that I had to take in that situation. And that's something I really had to come to terms with is, as I kind of continued and dove into my inner healing journey, which I will eventually share how I even got to that space in the first place, or you can check out some of the podcasts that I've been on, etc., where I shared the story. But in essence, I really found myself in a place where I had to make a decision. Like either I was going to continuously be in these half-hearted relationships where I felt nothing, and I experienced such a shallow version of relationship and a shallow version of love, which was, it's almost better not to have a relationship at all than to have a half-hearted relationship. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Whoever's watching this right now, you know exactly what I mean. You would rather be in a relationship that was, either completely hot or no relationship at all, right? And that's why even sometimes we get into these very toxic relationships, because at least we're feeling something, right? Now, again, it's obviously not the place in which we should seek our true validation or our worth. We shouldn't be, running after or chasing these relationships in order to fulfill or satisfy that internal void that we experience. But I did realize that, I'd rather just be with nobody than, be with somebody but not completely be there. And I can only imagine their experience, right? And so my confession is really that when we are in this state of emotional unavailability, especially as men, I don't know what it is to be a woman, but I know as a man, you are really in a place where you're guarded, you are protecting yourself, where you believe you're protecting yourself. Your ego is in charge. And so you're really coming from a state of fear, right? And most people think that arrogance and this bravado, whatever, comes from a state of, like bravado, or the person's just arrogant, or narcissism. But in reality, most of that is just a shell, or it's a mirage. It's an image, it's a costume that we wear in order for us not to be attacked, or in order for us not to get hurt. And so we believe that we're protecting ourselves by putting on this image of too cool for school, or, being completely withdrawn, or being the macho man, or whatever it may look like. We're really looking to protect ourselves from heartbreak. I was a part of what they call the red pill community for years, since the age of like 19, 20 years old until I was like 25. And I bought into the ideology of, a woman is basically only as loyal as like her next best option. Like I bought into all these mentalities because there were ways in which I could protect myself. If I could hold on to the image or the belief that, women only care about your money, they care about your looks, your status, your this, your that, every woman is like this, then I could keep a distance from every woman in my life, right? It was a justification for me. And so even if you are a young man watching this, or older man, or whoever you are, like I'm telling you right now, all that red pill mentality, it's the same with like extreme feminism, etc. It's really from a state of like trying to protect oneself. It's from a state of hurt. It's from a state of distrust, feeling unsafe in the world. And so we are in need of deep healing. Like I am now in an understanding that I needed healing more than anything else. I needed to heal. And I could do that only for me. Nobody else could come into my experience and heal me. Nobody could change me. And so if you're with somebody like this, it is not on you to change this man. It's not on you to heal this man. You can be a fertile soil that the seed can grow, but it is not your job to change this individual. And you may be so deeply in love with this person, you're so invested into them, but I promise you, when you start to experience yourself from a state of high self-worth and self-respect, You will not keep somebody around you who is not ready to completely commit, who is not ready to be available emotionally. If they say that that is what they desire and they're doing the work, that's very different. But if they're in a state where they're simply just emotionally unavailable, let it go. Let bruh go. Like, the best thing that happened to me was, essentially seeing the relationships that I had fall apart. And to be honest with you, again, I could put some things on them, but mostly it was me. I was the one getting out of the relationship. I was the one quitting on the relationship as soon as, things got hard, or I found an out, or whatever it may have been, right? And I was even looking for people who were kind of emotionally distant themselves in order to not feel so bad, when it came time for me to depart from that relationship. And, I'm in a 180 of a relationship at this point in time in my life by the grace of God. But I do know that, again, it was never any of those women's job to change me. It was never their job to fix me. It was never their job to make me see the light, because it was only when I was ready to see the light that I could see the light, right? And so I hope that frees somebody right now from a situation that you're in where you are trying so desperately to change this person, to have them be another way. They're not going to be any other way but what they are. And either you're going to accept it and, be in that tumultuous, sometimes toxic relationship, or you're going to let go and move towards something that you are truly deserving of, if you are somebody who is emotionally available yourself. So I appreciate you guys for watching this. I'm going to make sure to just link the last video so you guys have an opportunity to watch that. It was days ago. I look like a different person. I am a different person, but yeah, I'll make sure to link that video, and let me know if you guys want a part 3 of this. I didn't think I was going to do a series. I just thought like part 1, part 2, but if you guys want another, if you guys want a deeper dive on any aspect of what I'm talking about, or any questions when it comes to a man who's emotionally unavailable, please let me know immediately. I love you guys. Appreciate you. Peace.